Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous. And here's her story. Hi, Ollie. I've sent a donation, and you can call me Anonymous. First, I want to say I like your straight talk, so keep it going. There is no back for me. I stopped taking calls or contacting my sister 5 months ago, and I'm finally starting to feel better and more like myself. I made an audio file from something I wrote in late 2012 when I could no longer ignore what was going on. Oh, if anybody's wondering, not every video is going to be the picture-in-picture, but if you send in audio, because I'm able with this new program to record it through stereo, it works better. If I'm just going to be reading a letter, it's going to be a full screen, so don't worry. And if you want to be anonymous, I'm going to make sure that none of your personal information or anything gets out if I'm going to do it that way, so nobody panic. I only started seeing her as a friend in late 2010 when she broke up with her boyfriend and needed support. I should have known what I was getting into. And if it's that late where you're seeing her as a friend when she needs you, that's always when the narcissist seems like a friend. Not when you need them, when they need you. And they make it seem like, oh my God, this is it. This is the moment it all changes in our relationship. It's not, because it only goes one way. It's only when they need you. And the second they don't need you anymore, you need something for them, it's right back to the status quo, isn't it? She would go out of town to see this boyfriend for 7 years, so I didn't see her much. Before that, I didn't have much to do with her. Now, after 7 full years of being supported, I've had enough. You've worded it so well in one of your videos. They always overplay their hand, and she did just that. I feel stupid that it's taken me this long to see how she is a cheerful, pushy, give-to-get, controlling, manipulative, marshmallow narcissist. For a long time, I have known my dad as a covert narcissist, and now I see definite traits in her. She is the oldest of 4 in late middle age, but acts younger. She has friction of the responsibility. She has a fraction of the responsibility I have. I've been journaling a lot and sending notes to myself from work to make sense of it. Well, something weird happened. I just noticed for my last entry, I accidentally copied Golden Child's sister. I must have fired it off too fast. Stupid Yahoo Mail. Stupid me. The document was called Narc and a variation of her name. This is what Golden Child said in response. Hi, lost child. I hope you're doing well. January has been a rough month for me as I was sick for most of it, but I am doing better now. I think you may have sent this attachment to me in error. As I assume it is personal, I have not opened it or said anything to anyone about it. Lie. However, based on the document title, I assume it is probably something to do with the rift between you and Narc sister. I'm going to stay out of it unless either of you ask for my help. I hope you both can work it out, as it makes me sad to see my 2 sisters, who I love very much, at odds. Love, Golden Child. I decided I had had enough last August and went no contact as much as I could. It's complicated because we work for the same company. I emailed back Golden Child with the title, Yikes, Stream of Consciousness email. Don't read much into it. Hi, Golden Child. Whoops, sorry about that email. Don't worry, it was for a possible work of fiction, though inspired by true feelings from the past. Narc sister is Narc sister, and I have no quarrel with her. I'm pretty sure she will forgive me when she's ready. Sorry to hear you had a rough month. Lots of love, lost child. I don't know, you didn't buy that. You didn't believe that at the time. You should have stuck to what you wrote. As you can see, I'm a bloody liar. Yeah. But because you didn't have the backbone, you didn't have the confidence enough to stand up for yourself. To realize the Golden Child is just probably as much of a problem as the Narc was. You were afraid of them both. And what this was what you're lying here, what your bloody lie was about, was you not being ready and not having enough confidence to stand up for yourself. Say, you know what? Yeah, it was, you know what? I didn't want you to read it, but I meant everything I wrote in it. And it's time for this shit to come out. As you can see, I'm a bloody liar trying to turn the tables on the narc by gaslighting the situation and flipping it. Both Golden Child and Enabler Mom have indicated to me that I should forgive and forget, like I'm holding a grudge. What? You weren't gaslighting. You're making yourself to be the bad guy here, and you're not. You weren't gaslighting. You had it right. You were lying about it. Because you were afraid to stand up for yourself. Because you were afraid to tell him that was the God's honest truth. They don't realize I'm just happier just living my life without her dominating, manipulating, and controlling. I will see her at family functions, but she has blown the friendship to smithereens. When my mother said, you know it's nice to forgive, without mentioning details, I just said, yeah, I can forgive, but that doesn't mean I have to return to shitty behavior. My question is, should I just come out and tell the plain truth? Yeah. Yeah. A big part of me doesn't think this is a good idea because things are so messed up. What does it matter? I've been playing it cool. I'm not ready to block everyone yet, but I know that day will come. Well, if you know that day will come, what you're doing, if you know eventually you're going to have to cut these people out, what am I going to tell you right now that's going to help you? My thing is you got to cut them out. You know you got to cut them out. It's better sooner than later. Because when you do cut them out, the first thing that's going to happen, you're going to say to yourself is, God damn it, why didn't I do this sooner? Every time. And you've already come to the realization that this has got to happen, so what are you fucking around with it for? You didn't gaslight her, you gaslighted yourself. That being said, I have my own family and I don't need the family of origin. They offer nothing of real value. When I saw Narc's sister at Christmas, she tried to apologize. I'm sorry I hurt you. I said, you didn't hurt me. Then she said, I never fully saw you as an adult. I only responded, okay, Then she said in a huff, well, I'm still learning. She spent the rest of the time sulking. Golden Child, the second born, who is a little older than me, asked if I knew what was wrong with her, and I said I didn't. I'm 3 years younger than the oldest, and I remember her walking in my neighbor last year and marveling, oh, I didn't realize you lived in such a grown-up neighborhood. Listening to the audio file, I can't believe how nothing has improved. And in the past year, she ramped up the disrespect and the aggression and the gushy, almost histrionic style of talking. I've altered my voice a little because I'm afraid of accidentally tipping off her minions.
Here's that letter to myself, just proving that nothing ever really changes. Entitled, How I Experienced Older Sister in Early 2012. What I find interesting is how insidious the codependent's behavior is in a relationship. It sneaks up on you and suddenly you're chafing because it all seems so benevolent at first, but then something you can't quite put your finger on is not right. All that giving. But then it turns into organizing activities for you and controlling and orchestrating stuff and directing. My sister once admitted she is codependent, and I must agree. Her good deeds, good quotes, seem so important to her self-esteem.
Your sister's not codependent. She's manipulatively controlling through guilt. Through guilt and bullying. She's codependent in, she's dependent on the bullying. She's dependent on keeping you under control. I don't consider that codependent. When they're dependent on their abuse of you, that's not being codependent.
At the same time, she's actually really self-absorbed. She thinks the only thing about herself that needs changing is making more of an effort into, quote, putting her needs first.
That's not being codependent. That's being a selfish, narcissistic bitch. There's a difference. Codependency and narcissism are two different things. You can confuse one or the other. And the narcissist will get you to confuse narcissism, codependency for narcissism through guilt.
Funny, because that's exactly what she does. She feeds her ego by doing, quote, good deeds and meddling in other people's business. She identified as codependent after her now ex-boyfriend brought it to her attention and gave her a book on the subject. Still, a stack of little annoying behaviors continues. During a 2-day get-together up north, on both days, she asked me if I was tired because, quote, I looked tired. I was not.
Right, that's not codependency. That's bullying. That's her attacking you. Telling you look like shit. That's competition, not codependency. It's making you think it's codependency, but what she's really doing is tearing you down and competing against you.
50. When we went out to dinner, she insisted my top was not good enough and she made me put on a top she had in her car. It was ugly and smelled bad, and my other sister stepped in to say my own top was nicer, appropriate, and fit better. She will give me gifts even though there's no special occasion. This gift giving can sometimes make me feel ill at ease, and I don't know why.
Because it's not gift giving. Because everything she gives you has a meaning behind it. And it's not love me, don't reject me. It's I control you. I'm controlling you through this manipulation. You have to understand what the gift giving represents. It's ownership of you.
Every single time, without fail, when she sees me, she compliments the way I look and will fawn over me until I return the compliment. I don't know how many times I've heard, oh, your skin looks amazing.
That's not codependent. That's somebody fishing for compliments for herself. The true codependent just comes along with you with no regard for whether it's good for them or not. Everything your sister does is to her own benefit. And it's not out of fear or rejection. It's out of a need to control.
Pretty average looking, and my skin is not amazing. It's pretty run-of-the-mill for my age group. She has insisted on cooking for me even after I've told her I can only drop in for a few minutes. She lacks skills in listening and has trouble, quote, seeing the other in a relationship and allowing them.
Because she's controlling your time. She wants to do nothing more than to control you and your time. And I guarantee you that was the issue with the ex-boyfriend who left her. But that's not codependency. That's narcissistic bullying and control, because what she's trying to do is control your life. Under the guise of, oh, I'm just this weak little codependent and you can't leave me. Bullshit. Bullshit.
To just be. She's always controlling what happens, and people always have to be busy, 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 or, oh my, they just can't possibly be happy because being busy is what makes her happy. I think she grieves very deeply and needs healing. She constantly talked about an ex-boyfriend for 10 years and never bothered dating for that period. She is definitely a romantic and falls deeply in love with men who are not good for her. She organizes activities for others. The plans are usually complicated and require that I lay out a lot of money, rearrange.
This is what I'm talking about. She goes out of her way. She goes out of her way to organize activities for to control other people's time. This is what gives her her narcissistic oxygen. This is what gives her her narcissistic supply. She wants to occupy people's time with her bullshit. That's not codependent. That's narcissism.
Schedule, etc. And there's always the sales job to prevent any chance you may decline. She will enthusiastically tell me what she wants to do for me or my children to make sure we have a great summer, even though I have very little vacation time and want to spend it with my immediate family. It goes on and on. On the surface, she seems well-intentioned, but she can get kind of hostile if you're not playing along.
Exactly. That's not a codependent. The narcissist gets hostile when you give them a narcissistic injury. Everything you're telling me, this is why you get an uneasy feeling when she does anything, because you know there's strings attached. You know if she doesn't get her way, and you highlight it. I didn't highlight this. These are your highlights. Busy, busy, busy. Plans are usually complicated. The sales job can get kind of hostile. There it is. Can get kind of hostile. Narcissism. If you're not playing along. If there's a... Oops. I'm not reading it. You are. Sorry.
Conversation, she will say things like, "Oh, it sounds like you've got other things on your mind. Do you have to get off the phone?" She won't give me credit for knowing my own mind. I mean, if I have to get off the phone, I will be on.
Of course not, because she's the narcissist, not the codependent. Silently competing with you, silently controlling your time and anybody else's time who will allow her to. I'm sorry, I will get all the pop-up things and all these working, so I'm pretty new at this stuff.
And tell her I don't need prompting or permission from her. She tried to plant another little seed of guilt a while back. Once when I missed her call, she left a message asking me if she had done something to upset me. She was reading too much into a simple missed call. Maybe she felt like a pest, but if so, it has nothing to do with me. I realize I have enabled some of her behavior, but I am trying to distance myself, or at least be more honest. She hates it when I speak the plain truth, but I don't care anymore. I hate the fact that she often seems to have the self-esteem of an insecure teenager when she is a successful, well-off career woman in her 50s.
Because she never grew up, and she never will. Planting seeds of guilt, the self-esteem of an insecure teenager. This woman is a narcissist. And she's not a codependent. She's just a bully of your time and anybody's time who will allow her to sit there and waste it. You've answered a lot of your own questions here. You already know you're going to have to go no contact. You've already made that decision. So what are you wasting your time for? You have to get to a point where you're confident in your position. You have your own family. You have your own life. You don't need this. You're already resigned in your head. You're not at that point. You know it's going to happen, that you're going to have to block them all out. So what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for some major blow up? Okay? Some major blow up where you say, here's the justification for me to go no contact. You got plenty in the justification. You're a grown woman who's never been respected. You have a right to your opinion and your right to your feelings and a right to your anger, but you still weren't ready to stand up for yourself, were you? You didn't gaslight them, you gaslighted yourself, is what you did. So, you know this is going to have to happen. The woman's not a codependent. She never was. She has every indication of a narcissist, right down to the narcissistic injury and the blow up when she doesn't get her way. You have the same uneasiness we all do whenever the narcissist gives you anything and you just know there's something attached to it. That's what it's all about. And all this, the audio, the write, the let, all this. All of this, the only answer is you got to cut these people out. And you know it. You've admitted it. So, until that happens, until you stand up for you and your feelings and what was in that letter, which was true, what are you doing? So, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution and your story in the audio. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and expanding, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.